Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Apologies for the delay. There was, as you've seen, there's very strict policies of getting in, as rightly so. We are now at the European Parliament, so you're all very welcome, and we're also very, very grateful and thankful to our hosts, MEP Cecilia and Alessandra, for hosting us here today at such a unique and distinguished location. Welcome to the Roundtable on Women's and Girls' Education in Afghanistan, Education, Empowerment and Endurance. My name is Helmand Province. I'm the Director of the Friends of Afghan Women Network based in the UK, and I will be moderating this session today. As you know, since the return of the Taliban in August 2021, we have witnessed not only a tragedy, but the institutionalized erasure of Afghan women and girls from public life. From schools to universities to workplaces and public spaces, their rights have been dismantled and brutally destroyed. And this is not a tragedy just for Afghanistan, it's a global failure of responsibility and solidarity. And it raises a number of profound questions for all of us. How do we respond to a regime that denies half of its population the most basic human rights while the world looks away? And this event has been hosted in collaboration with the Afghanistan and Central Asian Association based in the UK, a refugee-led organisation founded in 1999 by Dr. Nurhak Nassimi, who arrived in the UK as a refugee himself in the back of a refrigerated lorry crossing the channel from Calais. Over the past 26 years, his organisation has supported thousands of displaced Afghan families, especially women, through legal advice, educational programs and advocacy, and running many humanitarian programs inside Afghanistan itself as well. So it's become a vital voice in shaping refugee policy, diaspora advocacy, and defending Afghan women's rights in exile and beyond. So I will stop there. I'm going to briefly, very quickly invite Darius Nassimi, who's the head of partnerships at the ACAA, to give you a brief breakdown, 2 minutes, of what the ACAA stands for, who we are. Hopefully it will open up questions towards the end on how we can work together. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. First of all, welcome to the European Parliament, and thank you very much for attending our roundtable. Thank you to the members of the European Parliament for booking this beautiful room in the heart of Brussels to talk about Afghanistan. I'm just going to give a very brief introduction about the charity. The Afghanistan and Central Asian Association was founded after my family came to the UK in 1999 as refugees to escape persecution from the Taliban. It was a very dangerous journey across Europe, and then eventually we arrived in Belgium, and that's where they put us inside the lorry, and 9 hours later we landed in Dover, and we were very lucky to survive. We then started the charity in the southeast of London to support the integration, resettlement of people who are new to the UK through English classes for adults, Saturday schools for children to help them with their school subjects, free legal advice clinics on housing, immigration, family issues, empowering women victims of abuse, employment workshops, mental health and counselling support, sports activities for young people. So we have a girls' football club in West London funded by Comic Relief, Sport England. And then conferences like this to talk about Afghanistan, to influence policy and to bring together key stakeholders. This is not the first time we're holding this event in Brussels. We had an event at the University of Kent, I think 2 years ago, and 5 years ago, again at the European Parliament, in Hamburg, in Netherlands, in Denmark, in Sweden, and also in the British Houses of Parliament as well. The most recent large-scale event was the Summer Festival, which we organised in London over 2 days. It was the world's largest music festival for the people of Afghanistan, and we had over 10,000 people attending. The charity, I think, became very busy after the return of the Taliban 4 years ago, because hundreds of people were contacting us about how to come to the UK. We then received lots of media coverage and then donations from the public, which we distributed to people living in the hotels. As you know, most of the asylum seekers in the UK, they are living in temporary accommodation due to the housing shortage. We then opened our second office in Birmingham, and we now have a third branch in Liverpool. So we've become the largest charity, the largest Afghan charity in the UK. In terms of the people that we help, it's not just people from Afghanistan. We have beneficiaries from South America, from Eastern Europe, from Ukraine, from the Middle East, as well as from South Asia. And there's a team of about 20 members of staff, full-time and part-time. And thank you to our volunteers, Kiara, Malek, and various other people for helping with organizing this event today. And internationally, we work inside Afghanistan as well, thanks to funding from UK Aid, from the Canadian Embassy in Kabul. And the key focus areas are improving access to clean water, access to healthcare, helping lots of people during COVID, as well as emergency winter appeals and the citizens' advice centres. So yeah, that was just an introduction about the charity, Afghanistan and Central Asian Association. And thank you once again, Chichila and Alessandra as well, for your support. And I really hope that after this conference we can stay in touch and we can continue working in collaboration in the UK, in the EU, but also on international development and aid relief inside Afghanistan, because there is a humanitarian disaster. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Darius. I realised that we should have started with our kind hosts, the two MEPs, but I hope that brief introduction by Darius was helpful. I will now pass on to MEP Alessandra Moretti, member of the European Parliament from Italy and a committed advocate for gender equality and social justice. She currently serves on the Committee on Women's Rights and Gender Equality, and MEP Cecilia Strada, a human rights defender, humanitarian worker, and a passionate voice for displaced people and marginalised communities. I think she brings decades of frontline experience in EU policymaking. So I'll pass on to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and good morning to everyone, and welcome here. I want to thank the organizers for putting this event together, and of course my colleagues Cecilia Strada and the chair Raquel to be here with us. And most of all, I want to thank you all for being here today and this event that means a lot to me, because this topic is at the center of my political work and of my idea of what it means to be a politician. We are seeing today the most serious violation of women's rights in the world. That is Afghanistan. That is the Afghanistan of the Taliban. And if you are like me, like half the population, a woman, life under the Taliban looks like this. 80% of Afghan women are not in education, employment, or training. Of course, because I'm a woman, it's logical that my education stops at elementary school. I'm banned from almost all professions. I cannot go to the gym, I cannot play sports, I cannot even go to the park. And good luck trying to change this when there are no women at all in local government or impactful positions. The decisions that shape your life are made by men and enforced by men. The walls of your home are as far as you can go. The ceiling is as high as you are allowed to dream. And housewife is the most you are supposed to become. Still, women resist. Even in almost complete darkness, their courage is alive. They wait, they hope, they fight. But in Afghanistan, hope is dangerous, and the Taliban do everything to destroy it. Here in the European Parliament, we try to do all we can to keep the attention of the media on Afghan women. The news cycle moves fast, too fast, but we try to slow it down and to keep the light on this crisis that is still happening. We use the tools that we have as politicians and legislators. We use resolutions, debates, diplomatic pressure, not only through the EU delegation to Afghanistan, but also in many committees, from foreign affairs to women's rights. But beyond all that, we try to do one thing that matters most: give voice to those who live this reality and make space for them to be heard. Just last month, we heard the story of Zulala Hashemi, an Afghan singer who followed her dream and who has now been missing for over a month. When a woman's voice breaks the silence, when it challenges Taliban power, stopping her is not just a choice. It's something they want to make sure of. It's a way to keep control, to stop her from becoming an example for others. And when this woman comes from Jalalabad, where women are almost never seen outside, and still she becomes a national voice, a voice that touches millions of hearts, her disappearance becomes a message. She left behind an husband and a 4-year-old son. Her family say she was kidnapped in Kabul. Her mistake? Leaving the house alone. The Taliban stay silent, but that silence says a lot. They change the story. Maybe she ran away. Maybe she left without telling anyone. This is what female singers do, they say. Not to explain, but to make people doubt her, to destroy her image, to turn her from a voice of freedom into a warning. Zulala becomes not a source of inspiration, but a symbol of danger, a message for every Afghan woman. Stay in line, follow the Sharia. This is the reality today, but it cannot be the future. We have to push it to Zulala. We owe it to Zulala. We owe it to every girl pulled out of school, every woman forced into silence, every dream destroyed by fear. We owe it to those who are still fighting with nothing but their voice and the courage to use it. Still voice, rise. Thousands of Afghan women still wait, still hope, still fight. This is not only about them. It's about what we stand for as a union that puts women's rights at the center of its action. And I want to say this clearly. If we allow Afghan women to be forgotten, we are saying that the rights of women everywhere can be ignored. That words are all we can give. And that is dangerous message. We must speak. We must act. We must never be silent again. We must not be afraid to get close to these stories, to let them hurt, to understand that these are real people.
Hi, they're just paramedics helping one of our participants who's feeling a bit sick. But
Okay. If someone needs help.
yeah, I think they're just helping that job.
Sorry. Okay, we must not be afraid to get close to these stories, to let them hurt, to understand that these are real people with real names asking for real help. And we must also speak for women who don't even ask for help because silence is the only thing they have ever known. For every woman who believes that staying at home is God's will, for every little girl who never dreamed of more than being married at 13 to a man she doesn't know, this event is for her. This event is our way to invest in the strength, the leadership, and the resilience of Afghan women. It's a way to give them space to speak. This is not just about freedom or rights. This is about life or death. They cannot study medicine, but they still need doctors. They cannot go out alone, but what happens in an emergency? The first time I came close to this battle, it was August 2021. An Afghan friend from Venice, and who is here today, called me for help. Her sister was trapped in Kabul when the Taliban took over. I started helping women one by one, looking for safe channels, making phone calls in the middle of the night, trying to help girls and find a way through the chaos at the airport. Some of them made it. Many are here today, living again. But it's not enough. We keep up the work and think about all those women and girls that are still trapped there. We must continue. We must keep media attention high. We must use the foreign action of the Union and do all we can to support Afghan women. I carry the hope of the ones who made it out, and that must give us the strength to keep thinking of those who are still there. Thank you.
Hello, assalamu alaikum, sabah al-khair everyone. It's nice to be here with you today, and also I appreciate so much the presence of our special guest today, Honorable Raquel Garcia Mida van der Valle, and I will give her the floor for a brief hello after. But first I would like really to thank ACAA so much for giving my colleague Alessandra and me the possibility to host this debate today. We are both committed on women's issue and human rights, and we know that education is a fundamental human right. The door to opportunities, the door to freedom, the basis for peace, and we also know that for women and girls in Afghanistan, that right simply does not exist. As Alessandra was saying, since the Taliban took over the country in 2021, they have turned education into a weapon of control. Millions of Afghan women have been banned, women and girls have been banned from secondary school and university, but also excluded from work, from public life, and even from receiving basic health care. The UNICEF executive director stated that if this ban remains in place until 2030, over 4 million girls will be denied education beyond primary level, with very devastating consequences already happening. Without education, we know women are more likely to be forced into early marriage, exposed to violence, and locked out of jobs and healthcare. Afghanistan is already in a deep crisis with over 90% of the population living in poverty, and over 15 million people that face severe food insecurity. Denying education to half of the population only deepens the humanitarian catastrophe. Afghan women continue to resist with courage under the slogan bread, work, freedom, and they risk everything to keep their hope alive. UNICEF and European Union are working with local partners to educate girls through community programs, vocational trainings, even under Taliban rule, and these efforts, hopefully, inshallah, are saving lives and building hope, much needed hope. The European Parliament approved several texts on women's situation in Afghanistan, thanks in particular to the good work of my colleagues. In particular, last year we approved 2 resolutions on the deteriorating situation of women in Afghanistan and the repressive environment in the country. Last October, very important, the Court of Justice of the European Union ruled that systemic discrimination, such as the discrimination faced by Afghan women under the Taliban rule, amounts to persecution under EU asylum law. The court clarified that asylum authorities may not consider other factors than the gender to when they examine an application. So the gender alone is ground for asylum, and this is really important. Just a few days ago, the ICC on the 8th of July has issued arrest warrants for 2 top Taliban leaders. This is another good news. On charges of abuses against women and girls and committing gender-based persecution. It is a recognition, much needed, of the reality of women in Afghanistan, the reality they live under. A reality that demands action, not just words. And action, as of course the work of the association as the ACAA, supporting Afghan women from the ground with concrete projects and creating awareness, not only in UK, in Europe, in the institution, about the issue. We must stand with these girls and women, not only with words, with action, with funding, with political pressure, with global solidarity. As I said before, education is not a privilege, it's a fundamental human right, and it's the key to healthy societies. And I want to be clear, educating girls is not just an investment in Afghanistan's future, it's a stand against extremism, against oppression, against the silence that allows injustice to grow. And just let me close with a personal memory. I was in Kabul in 2016. There was this big attack from Taliban against the American university. 13 students died that night. I was working with an Italian NGO providing surgical care in a hospital in Kabul. And so we admitted a lot of students. And in the following weeks, as they were ready to be discharged from the hospital, I went to each and every one to ask, what are your plans for the future? And somehow I was expecting them to tell me that they were trying to flee the country, because of course they were studying when they were attacked. They had to jump out of the windows. Really, I was expecting them to tell me, I want to flee the country, I want to be safe. But each and one of them, they told me the same thing. Our plans for the future is to go back to university as soon as possible, because if we don't, that means they win, but we want to win. We are the future. And this strength, this hope, and this determination that I think will eventually allow Afghan women and girls and Afghan men to win the battle for dignity, for justice, for fundamental rights. And really, I hope we can walk together this path. And so thank you again for being here today, for giving us the possibility to listen to you. And thank you so much. And I will gladly leave the floor to Raquel. Merci.
Thank you, Cecilia, and thank you, Alessandra, for your introduction. And thank you to all of you for having made the trip to Brussels, and welcome, as my colleague said, in the European Parliament, which, well, the UK is unfortunately no longer a member of the European Union, but please feel as citizens welcome here. This is also your home. As chair of the Afghanistan delegation, the delegation of the European Parliament for the relations with Afghanistan, I'm always very happy to receive civil society from Afghanistan, but also from the diaspora, who are trying to reinstate a feeling of normality now in other countries, but in the future we hope also in Afghanistan, because I see enormous resilience in the Afghan society, as much in the country as abroad. And as the colleagues just said, it's very inspiring to see how Afghan people, the women, the girls, but also their men, I'm very happy to see a very mixed audience here today, have hopes for the future and for their contribution. Just a couple of points on the role of the Afghanistan delegation. As you may know, the European institutions have no formal relations with the de facto authorities in Afghanistan. That makes the work of the parliamentary delegation a bit different than other delegations. That means that we have to find
creative ways to engage and keep engaging with civil society from the principled approach without legitimizing the regime. And that is one of the main goals of the delegation, to try to find a balance there. But like Alessandra said, we have a very important role in setting the agenda, in ensuring that in this perma-crisis that we are in as world, we are not forgetting about the situation of the people of Afghanistan, and particularly their women and girls. And that's a role which we take very, very seriously with the delegation institutionally in the parliament. We're also trying to have a moment, to dedicate a moment to the 4 years since the fall of Kabul, as soon as that's possible, maybe in September during plenary. So we will keep you all posted about what we can do there. And again, just to restate that we have the role to ensure that help keeps flowing to those organizations who are working on the ground, who are helping people, who are engaging with women and girls in education and in other sectors, and that I hope to be able to collaborate with you in the next few years. So thank you again, and thank you for inviting me for being here today. Thank you.
Thank you so much for those powerful remarks, and Raquel, thank you so much for joining us. We were very surprised, but also it shows the dedication of the EU Commission and the European Parliament for you to be engaging with us. So really appreciate that. I will move on to Dr. Nurhat Nassimi now, the Director of the Afghanistan Asian Association. And before we move on and transition into the panel discussion, where I can invite our other fellow panelists, just want to add that the ACA has been a vital institution supporting women and girls inside the country for many years, almost 2 decades. And the importance of diaspora civil society, diaspora-led civil society, is one of the most biggest drives towards meaningful change both inside and outside Afghanistan. To be able to make a social impact or a transition to social change, we have to empower not only those inside the country, but also those voices that are outside the country, professionals with experience of what's going on. And Dr. Nassimi has made many efforts to bring many different groups of Afghans across the world to come together towards a conversation for an alternative or a different Afghanistan. So I'll pass on to Dr. Nassimi, and we'll move on to the panel after that. And the MEPs, and I don't know if Raquel has left, but please stay here. Hopefully you can be part of the discussion as well if you have some time. Thank you.
Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Alessandra and Cecilia, as well as Raquel, member of the European Parliament. And also thank you to the British people helping me to improve my confidence to be sitting here in the European Parliament. As my son told you, I left Belgium in the back of a refrigerated container. No oxygen, dark, very cold, for 10 hours with my small babies to arrive in the UK in 1999. And now I'm lobbying, campaigning on behalf of the people of Afghanistan. Yeah. And thank you to all of you for attending this important occasion to discuss the challenges faced the people of Afghanistan, and in particular the people who sacrificed millions of lives against the Soviet invasion between 1979 and 1989. What was the outcomes? Fighting against the USSR, the collapse of the USSR, and the collapse of the Warsaw Pact. There is no longer threat that the EU or the Western democracy can face from Moscow. Watching some of the videos, Brezhnev the leader of the USSR, visited India, and Indira Gandhi, the former Indian Prime Minister, with the flowers, welcomed Brezhnev in the Delhi airport. And the same thing was happening in Cuba, how Fidel Castro welcomed Brezhnev in Havana. So the outcome for the people of Afghanistan, after fighting with the USSR, with the 250,000 troops of the Russian, yeah, now we are living under the Taliban. Of course, I can understand the pain and the feeling of the Palestinian people. Last night when we were traveling the street in Brussels, I saw some of the flags of Palestine in some houses and some slogans, Free Palestine. But my girls, my people, my women, in the 21st century, they can't access education. Now it's almost 4 years. Next month will be 4 years. I completely understand, because we are a very, very new community in the Western society. My analysis is lack of representation in the EU Parliament. I don't think we have any member of the European Parliament from Afghanistan. But then, even if we have someone from Afghanistan as the member of the European Parliament, then no one knows about the internal tribal bias. Yeah. So there are a lot of unreported human rights abuses, corruption, discrimination, racism within the Afghanistan government for the past maybe 300 years, since the creation of Afghanistan as a buffer state. Until today, I don't think anyone understands about the indigenous and non-indigenous. Last night I was going through the social media, and the latest announcement of the Taliban to delete Farsi language, which is the indigenous language of the country for thousands of years, from the government offices. So what's going on in our country? Some people, they just, maybe I don't know how, they can found some slogan about apartheid, woman apartheid or sexual, but I disagree about the gender apartheid. In Afghanistan we have ethnic cleansing, and I would like to use this room at the EU Parliament to let the world that in Afghanistan we are facing ethnic cleansing, and especially the people in the north of Afghanistan who lost millions of lives fighting against 250,000 Russian troops. We thought after 2001 we might receive some appreciation from the West. But when I saw the pictures of Kandahar, looks like Dubai. The Russian troops wasn't in Kandahar. The Russian was in Bagram, Parwan, Hairatan, Kelagai, in the north of Afghanistan for 9 years. After 9 years, the people in the north of Afghanistan kicked the Russian out. But since 2001, I saw that the Afghan government even didn't spend £1 in Chari car, which is 15 minutes from Bagram. 15 minutes. You can even find it on YouTube. When some people, they come to my office in London, and I show the picture of the south of Afghanistan, they can't believe it. They say, is this Afghanistan or Dubai or Doha? This is the important messages that the world, the British Foreign Office, the EU Parliament, the US Congress, we should let them know what's going on in our countries. Since the return of the Taliban, we tried our best to launch the Diaspora Council. Why? Because we have 20 million refugees in Iran and Pakistan. They are facing human rights abuses and deportation from Iran and Pakistan. We don't have any single representation in US Congress to defend the rights of 20 million refugees in Iran and Pakistan. Yeah. Then we plan to launch the Taliban opposition in exile. We didn't get any, unfortunately, positive response from it. Then we started thinking about launching a coalition for the future of Afghanistan. Number 3, yeah? The Diaspora Council, we don't have anyone to represent millions of diaspora globally. The Taliban opposition in Israel, a coalition for the future of Afghanistan. Until today, we don't have anything. So the main issues that the people of Afghanistan are facing is lack of representation in the Western politics. Maybe, as Shabnam just told me, that there will be more opportunities for you as well as for the panel to answer some of your concerns. For now, I would like to say thank you very much for attending to this important occasion, and I hope we can continue working together, that after this conference we can build a very strong relationship with the EU Parliament at least, because we are not far from that. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So much, Dr. Nassimi. I would like to now invite Laylima Sadid, who is a former diplomat at the Afghan Embassy in Belgium. She's now a journalist and advocate for women's rights, and it will be great to have, we'll be honoured to have your contribution. So please join the panel here with us, and hopefully we are still having you on for the discussion. Alessandra and Cecilia? Yes? Perfect. And just before I start, I just wanted to mention that one of Afghanistan's distinguished artists is amongst us, Miss Rishta Samar. And as a woman, I think it's important to recognize that Afghanistan's art and heritage is under threat, especially amongst women and girls. So I am very proud when I see women, especially Ilya. She is a very renowned and recognized Afghan woman artist who's spent her life in exile for many years. But I think it's important to recognize and celebrate those who are protecting our culture and heritage and music and art. So thank you so much for joining us.
And a woman as well. Being a woman as well.
Exactly. Thank you so much for the beginning of our session. I will now move on to the panel discussion, which will follow with questions and answers from the audience. We'll try to keep the panel discussion short. I will ask each one a question as the moderator, as the chair, and then we'll move on to the audience. I want to be able to give you guys a chance to engage, because I think one of the most important strategies that we must begin to adopt when it comes to panel discussions and any event on Afghanistan is direct engagement with those that we are conversing with. This is not speaking at you, it's about speaking with you, especially women, girls, and members of the Afghan community around Europe. So let's make sure this is a productive discussion, and hopefully you can propose recommendations on how our fellow MEPs and those within the EU Commission can adopt those recommendations and make sure that any engagement with Afghanistan and with the people of Afghanistan is representative of all ethnic groups, of all women and girls, and is equal to make sure that all of our voices are heard across the world. So I'll move on first, actually, because we've just had Laila Marjan added to our panel, and you haven't had a moment to introduce yourself yet. So I think I'll move on to you, especially because now you are a journalist. What stories are not being heard about Afghan women today, particularly from rural areas or less Kabul-centric? What is it that we're missing? What is it that we're not hearing about? So that we can make sure that any engagement is representative of the entire country. So I'll pass on to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, and good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for organizing this important event. Actually, after a long time that I feel in the European Union, before the collapse, they were very, very important and supporting Afghanistan, especially for the democracy, for freedom of expression and everything. But since 1 year, there was less activity and less, let's say, conferences about Afghanistan. Today, I'm very glad to be here. It's not voice of myself. I would like to raise the voice of women from Afghanistan, as she heard not only Kabul, but the provinces and the district that never heard any time of their life. They were very young, educated people that I received time to time messages from them asking to support by secret classes that they should study. This is the voice of young girls from my country that they would like to have an education. But the voice of women never heard about discrimination, gender equality, violence, and also the most basic right that they are not in Afghanistan allowed, especially for women. The things that I would like to share today to support women in Afghanistan, not women that they are living in the big or the almost in the cities that they have some opportunities, but not all over the countries. The voice of women that they are always silenced, forced marriage in the small provinces and districts, even they are 7 years old, 9 years old, that they are forced marriage with their parents. That should really more be focused on that and ask about all this opportunity to support them. And also about the education, the most important, but we shouldn't think that if we put in the engagement for the Taliban and gave education and then make engagement with the Taliban as a woman, and also the young generation girls and women in Afghanistan, they are not agreed to make recognition for the Taliban, just give permission to education. For the moment, we doesn't know the system and the curriculum of the education, because Taliban's already start building madrasas, jihadist madrasas, and putting the girls also in that madrasas. And this is the most difficult, not only dangerous for Afghanistan future, but also for the future of the other countries. We should pressurize the Taliban, not only in the way that diplomatic, but also there is also diplomatic, political, and also we put more sanction for the Taliban. Why not we are doing that? We always creating the countries and like separating. It doesn't work in Afghanistan like that. And we should bring all the diasporas together. We should bring all opposition and also political leaders in a table. Civil society, as much as we can, women should be in the table and start talking and make a plan for the future of Afghanistan. Not the UN that make a plan and put for Afghanistan roadmap. That doesn't work in Afghanistan. If you ask for the people of Afghanistan, they don't want the roadmap built with the other countries, and that it's not running in the good direction. So for me, the most important, and I would like to finish by this, to say that as a diaspora, we are in Belgium. We try to support as much as we can other refugees in Afghanistan outside, and also sharing the information. We have some databases. We would like to continue with your organization and support the other organization to bring all together and make like a database, not only bring the leaders of the Taliban in the jail, but we should bring really the person that they are involved and make the policy for the people of Afghanistan. Don't forget, stand with the people of Afghanistan, but especially for the women, and support them. And also, journalists, don't forget, because they are living in a very dangerous situation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Before I move on to other panelists, I've just been told that Farishta Jean would like to say a few words, if that's okay, on her take on what's happening to specifically art and music and culture amongst women girls.
In German. But the only thing is, she needs like the music to be played. No? The laptop of the play is gonna.
Sehr geehrte Damen und Herren, ich freue mich sehr, heute bei dieser wichtigen Veranstaltung mitwirken zu dürfen. Der Einsatz für Frauenrechte in Afghanistan ist mir als Künstlerin und Rechtsaktivistin ein besonders wichtiges Anliegen. Frauenrechte sind Menschenrechte und müssen allen Frauen zuteil werden, unabhängig von Herkunft, Religion, Kultur, Sprache und so weiter. Unter diesem Regime dürfen die Frauen weder an der Bildung noch an das aktive gesellschaftliche Leben teilnehmen. Sie werden isoliert, gefoltert, ausgenutzt, vergewaltigt und sogar Kinder werden zwangsverheiratet und verkauft. Somit wird die Hälfte der Gesellschaft jeglichen Menschenrechte entzogen. Und das ist eine neue Form der Sklaverei. In dieser globalen Welt ist das Problem der afghanischen Frauen nicht nur ein Problem Afghanistans, sondern ein Armutszeugnis der Weltgemeinschaft. Man hat das Gefühl, als suche die Führungsmächte der Weltgemeinschaft nach einem Konsens mit den Taliban, anstatt gegen diese menschenschänderischen Gesinnung klare Kante zu zeigen. Ich oder wir freidenkende Frauen appellieren an die internationale Staatsgemeinschaft, die Stimme der afghanischen Frauen Gehör zu schenken und sich für den Schutz der Frauenrechte einzusetzen. Eine kleine Strophe singen über die Frauen. من هم صدای آن زنی آزاد می شوم من هم نوای دختری آن خانه می شوم او از فراق مکتب در بستن ناله کرد من نغمه زیان دلی پر ناله می شوم من هم صدای آن زنی آزاده می شوم تا کی شلاق طالب لا به فرق ما تا کی شلاق طالب لا به فرق ما من خال چشم جاهلی دیوانه می شوم من هم صدای آن زنی آزاده می شوم دیگر من آن سیاه سر در مانده نیستم دیگر من آن سیاه سر در مانده نیستم با دانشم چراغی رهی خانه می شوم من هم صدای آن زنی آزاده می شوم.
Thank you so much for the beautiful performance and also a display of what the women of Afghanistan are capable of if given the opportunities and the freedom to stand up and be a voice for themselves. And that, although many of you may have not understood the song, the chorus is "I will be the voice of the free women of Afghanistan." So thank you so much, and I hope you Thank you. I will move on quickly to Alessandra and Cecilia and Dr. Nasimi. Please keep your remarks 2 minutes so that we can go to the floor and answer questions from the audience. I will come to you, sir, very shortly. MEP Alessandra Moretti, do you believe that the EU has done enough to call this what it is, gender persecution, and one of the world's worst women's rights crises in the world? And should the Parliament adopt stronger legal language and stronger legal action to classify the Taliban's action under international law?
Thanks for the question. Is not easy to answer because in this legislation the far-right political forces are in a very strong number inside the Parliament, and so the Democrat force are weaker than in the past. So we have to try to have solution and a strategical instrument to put at the center of our agenda the condition of women in the world as gender mainstreaming inside the European Parliament. In the last legislature we had this a sort of gender mainstreaming that was really strong inside the committees. So now we have to take on our shoulders the strong commitment that comes from many countries as Afghanistan, in which Afghan women, but women, children, very young women, girls, cannot be safe, cannot be free, cannot be educated inside school, universities, have a job, have a salary. And what we can do is to continue to fight, to continue to put at the center of our debate in Strasbourg, for example, this strong commitment that we have. And we have also to open the doors of the European Parliament to the activists, to the women activists, to the women NGO to the women association that work in Europe to raise the voice, as you've done before, of women's rights. So I think that to send a strong message, be careful, Taliban, because we are watching you. We are hearing the voice of women. We know exactly what you are doing against women, against human rights. And so I think this should be the base of our job inside, to be strong together, to be strong with other groups, also with the far-right group, to be clear that the message is not only a socialist or liberal commitment, but there is a commitment that is of all of us, not only a part, but all European Parliament should fight for women's rights in the world, in Afghanistan too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for those words. And that sort of leads me on to my second question to MEP Cecilia Schrader. On what mechanisms does the European Parliament currently have to support Afghan women, not only inside the country, because I understand there is no diplomatic or political relationship there, but specifically those outside of Afghanistan, or those who want to be able to leave Afghanistan to study, to work? What mechanisms have the European Parliament put in place or are planning to help those women and girls?
Well, in general, the European Parliament, as you know, works on resolutions, like the one I was mentioning before, wanted so much by Alessandra. Then, of course, to have a resolution, you need to have a majority. And it may be difficult also because women's rights are a bit backsliding in Europe as well. Yeah. We need to fight for the women's rights even in Europe. Yeah. And then of course there is some people from other parties that will not support the human rights of Afghan women, because then how can they oppose the violation of human rights, of female and women's rights in Europe? So if you fight, let's say, for sexual and reproductive health in Afghanistan, then how can they oppose our job on sexual and reproductive health in European countries? So I think this, and that's why we need really a strong alliance with women and men that crosses borders, that focuses on fundamental rights here and there, and go on working together. Then, of course, the Parliament, as sometimes we have a resolution on the breach of human rights, specific cases, and this is a tool that was in the past used also for Afghanistan, and we were. I will strongly support, and for sure also Alessandra will, the proposal of Raquel. She was telling before that she wants to ask in the plenary in Strasbourg in October a moment to commemorate it's not the word, sorry, because it's a nice word, to remember the Taliban taking Kabul in 2021, and that will be an occasion, big occasion, to speak about the situation in Afghanistan. And then for sure we will, not with the authorities as was said before, but we will go on working with all local NGOs and the diaspora to try to protect human rights. And we will do whatever we can, but I don't want to take any more time, also because I need to inform you that the chat and the room is busy at 2 o'clock, so we will need to leave the room at 2 o'clock. So I will stop here to leave room for the audience, for the questions and participation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I'll come to the audience shortly. Please make sure that your questions and any remarks that you're making are just 30 seconds, very short, so that it gives the panelists a chance to answer them. Dr. Nsimi, 2 minutes. I just wanted to ask how you think diaspora-led civil society can meaningfully support women and girls in the planning of, in sort of taking the steps towards human rights in Afghanistan for them?
So Alessandra is left.
Cecilia.
Just-
Cecilia left.
Cecilia. It's good that we have Alessandra.
The microphone.
First of all, I think that Darius and Shaknan forgot to mention that I had the opportunity to meet King Charles in December 2023 to receive my MBE, Member of the British Empire. And last July, I have also received the honorary doctorate in law and social science from the Royal Holloway University of London. So after 26 years working full-time, 7 days a week on a grassroots level, on a front line, 7 days a week, I believe that we cannot solve the problem in Afghanistan until the Great Britain, the United Nations, the Security Council, the United Nations, the Security Council, as well as the EU will not sit down together and find a sustainable solution for Afghanistan, the country that now one village fight against another village. The tension between ethnic groups become a very, 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 very tense. The Farsi, Hazara, Tajik, Uzbek, Turkmen, Pashtun, there's serious division. Because I can see on a grassroots level, check the TikTok, the Facebook, the social media, how can we solve the problem in Afghanistan without the support of the EU, the United Nations, the Security Council, the Great Britain, as well as the United States of America? And it's very sad to see that Trump deleted the name of Afghanistan on the list of the US priority and put the Ukrainian crisis first. What I would like to ask Alessandra, in September, when the summer holiday is finished, maybe they can call a meeting in the EU and invite someone like the leader of the civil society, to have the opportunity to propose a plan for the future of Afghanistan. Why? I want to tell you one thing. When I was hearing the speakers, everyone said, we hope that the Taliban will stop women's rights violation. But the same expectation I noticed from the Iranian community, from the Iranian diaspora. When the Islamic regime, the Islamic revolution has happened in Iran in 1979, the Iranian people, they thought exactly the same, that the Islamic regime will be removed in 4 years, in 3 years, in 6 years. But then they continue for 46 years. And I can say one thing, one of the reasons they stay in power, because the Iranian and the Farsi people in Afghanistan, they are exactly facing the same problem. And the problem is isolation, talking in their own language 24 hours, not like the Pakistani and Indian. The Pakistani and Indian, they speak in English language at home. That's why we have the Prime Minister from India, Rishi Sunak, and the Mayor of London is from Pakistan. Maybe 25-30% of the UK cities run by the South Asian communities. Do we have any single representation in the EU, in the US, in NATO, in the United Nations, in the UK? No. That's why we decided to come here. This is not part of our holiday. We rented a minibus. And last time at the Brussels University, 2 years ago, our minibus broken at 11 p.m. We left the minibus here in the station. We paid 1,500 euro. Then we paid another 2,500 euros for transportation of my minibus back to London, almost 4,000, and 1,000 to fix the garage. Did we have any funding for this kind of conferences in 26 years? No. This is part of my vision and passion for the future of my people, to make sure that my people will access human rights, basic women rights, basic rule of law, and enjoy their life as other nations in the world are enjoying. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nassimi. You can see that in his remarks there's a lot of pain, because the pain for freedom, the struggle for freedom, comes with a lot of trauma and heartache. So I hope you understand that sometimes, especially with English being a second language, you've got to read between the lines in terms of what the people of Afghanistan are truly going through. I'll now move to the floor. Please, can you introduce yourself, your name, if you work for an organization, mention that, and the question you're asking and who the question is directed at, please. Keep it very short, and I'll move on to you. I'm going to go to this gentleman right here, because you've raised your hand a few times. Please keep it short. Introduce yourself first and tell us.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm a Professor Abdul Farid Salangi, counselor and founder of Women Online University. In December 2023, 15 change, a case could not longer attend the university. Within a week, a small group of former professors and volunteers came together and established Women Online University. We started with nothing but a strong belief that we had to act fast. Almost 3 years later, that belief has grown into a real university. Today, more than 17,000 girls study free with YAS. Over 700 professors volunteer their time. Many women inside Afghanistan help keep in the university alive. We are over 16 faculties and have completed 6 semesters following the national curriculum from before the Taliban took power. And I'm proud to say that Women Online University registered in Company House, United Kingdom. But education is not a part of what we do. After the school closed, many girls' life into deep depression. Families push them into early marriage. As some were so helpless, they thought about ending their lives. To help, we started a mental health clinic that has already supported hundreds of girls. The clinic is a lifeline, but it needs orange help and support from the European Union to keep going. We are grateful for the support the European Union has given Afghan women in the past through education, project, and raising the voice. Today, we ask you to continue that support through Women Online University. So I ask you to please recognize the academic certificate issued by Women Online University to support YAS with the resource we need to reach more guests. 3. Help YAS keep our mental health services running. 4. Understand that for now, online education is not a substitute. It is the only option this rise up. One of our students once told me, when I open my laptop, I feel like I still exist. We want to keep that feeling alive for everyone Afghan guests. Please help us make sure these guests are not forgotten. They are here. They still dream. And they still believe that someone else believes in them. Together, let's just stand by Afghan women and honor their values as well. Believe me, I lost my father and my young brother in this way. Taliban killed my father and my brother to stop my work, but I didn't work. I volunteered 3 years. I have worked with 700 professors outside of Afghanistan and other countries. I have bring the suggestion of 17,000 gates in paper for European Parliament, I want to give for you to study that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bannister. Thank you so much. I'm sure the MEPs have taken those notes and you'll be able to speak to them towards the end of the session. I'll go on to, yes, you sir.
Hello? Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Nassimi, and thank you so much, MEPs Moretti and Strada, for organizing this and hosting this program. My question is of a practical one for the European Union and the European Parliament, that since 2021, following 4 months of Taliban resettling back into the governance system after the 90s, there's a 214% increase in the digital hate towards Afghan women, regardless of their ethnic backgrounds, and most of them are based in European countries. So either they were exiled or they were already here. This includes activists, this includes former politicians. They all face hate in online spaces by troll accounts. What sort of mechanisms are there in place to counter that within the EU? Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone want to take that question? Should we take a few? Okay. Anyone else? Yes, go ahead, sir.
سلام روزتان خوش.
You'd like them translated? Yeah. Okay.
عرض احترام به نمایندگان اتحادیه اروپا. عرض احترام به نمایندگان اتحادیه اروپا و استفاده از فرصت می‌خواهم سوال خود را چنین مطرح کنم. از سال‌هاست که جنگ‌های نیابتی در افغانستان تا اکنون ادامه دارد. دروازه مکاتب بر روی دختران بسته است. موزیک یک زبان طبیعت است، یعنی نای شود، حرام اعلام شده. روسیه و چین در حال گسترش جنگ نیابتی تا هنوز هستند. چرا اتحادیه اروپا، سازمان ملل، جامعه جهانی در برابر چنین بی‌عدالتی تا هنوز خاموشند؟ سوال من قبول. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. He was specifically talking about the music section, musical bans in Afghanistan, and specifically also mentioning that girls have been banned from education, and why the United Nations, why the European Parliament, the EU Commission have not spoken out as much as they should be when it's one of the worst crises for women's rights in the world. And the fact that the focus is now on the Russian and Chinese and the threat that they pose to the region. I'll take one more and then we'll take 2 questions. Sir, the back, yes. No, it's just that.
Doesn't work. It doesn't work. But anyway, you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, just an info point. I'm official in the DROIT Subcommittee of Human Rights here in the European Parliament. And I would like to inform you that we organized a public hearing on the 24th of September, the DROIT Subcommittee of Human Rights together with the FAM Committee on Gender Equality. The public hearing is on gender apartheid, especially in Afghanistan and Iran, and trying to have an EU strategy for the protection of human rights, of women human rights globally. So this is an open event. You can watch it on web stream, or you can participate if you want. And just to inform you also that during the last annual report of the Committee on Foreign Affairs and Subcommittee of Human Rights, there is a clear indication that was adopted in January 2025, was a clear indication for the gender apartheid to be a distinct human rights violation and to a crime against humanity. So we work intensively on these matters, and we are happy to have you here, and thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you. There's a question there. Yeah. Would you like me to keep going? going or keep going? Yeah. Go ahead, yes.
Hello. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello everyone. I would like to welcome you all and I'm honored to be here. My name is Sahal Shirzad and I represent Conspalama organization, which the founder is Ms. Nadia Ghulam. She's the founder of our organization and she has been living in Afghanistan under the past regime of Taliban for 10 years as a man. And this is the reality of Afghan women, that they have to go through all of these struggles just to work and just to be represented in society. It's a very long time. And I've also been under the, I've lived under the regime of Taliban for 4 years up to now, and it's been months that I'm in Europe. So I don't have any question, but I have suggestions. Because now I see the opportunity that European members are here. My suggestion from the experiences that I had in Afghanistan and from the collective experience of my organization is that now in our organization we work on clandestine schools. We have underground schools, libraries, factories, which is specifically for the women. So the only thing right now that works in Afghanistan, apart from the political steps that the high-level entities should take, the other solution is to focus on the labor, on working opportunities. Why today a lot of migrants are deported from Pakistan? Why a lot of migrants are deported from Iran? If they have job, they will never leave the country, as the founder of our organization always says to us. It's her idea also and our idea that if in Afghanistan the European Parliament or the international community increase their fundings in order to support the working opportunity, the factories, the industries for the women of Afghanistan, nobody is leaving the country to migrate. And I just wish and urge you to share our words and carry our words to the rest of the Parliament members to increase the fundings and opportunity in this way and to support the clandestine channels. But at the same time, please take a look on the visa restrictions of the students who are trying to take this scholarship, because personally I have many friends who cannot come here because of the visa restrictions. 90% of their work are done, but they are not going to come here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
گرچه که سوال بیشتر شد که چرا جامعه جهانی، چرا نهادهای حقوقی، چرا امنستی واقعا خاموش است در مقابل این خیانت‌هایی که در افغانستان میشه. سوال من هم دارم، ولی گپ مهم برای من این است که در وضع فعلی باید وضع نرمندهای افغانستان خانم‌ها و بخصوص نرمندها باید بر از اونا کمک رسانده شود که بسیار در حالت خراب قرار دارن که اونا کار خود از دست دادن، هیچ چیز ندارن دیگه.
تشکر بسیار.
کشته هم میشن، زده هم میشن.
تشکر. Ms. Fisher was focusing on the Afghan female musicians and the fact that their lives are under threat in Afghanistan. They don't have work and they also can't flee, so they're a direct threat. And what is the international community doing to help the artists, female artists inside the country? I'll take, I think, Ms. Orazo, you wanted to speak, yes?
Somehow the mic is not working. Good afternoon. My name is Arzu Nabahar. I'm a Tajik woman from North Afghanistan, specifically from Andara, the place where the Russians still talk about it. I escaped my country when the Taliban came in, and that was all because of my mother. My mother was working in the UN, and people came to our house asking for my mother because they wanted to kill my mother. So they couldn't find my mother because we had run away, and they have imprisoned my father. My father was a teacher in Kabul University, and he had his master's from Indiana University in the United States of America. So I came here as a refugee child in the Netherlands, where I did not speak the language, nor I did even know that a country like the Netherlands really exists in the world, because it's like a little small little spot. Anyhow, coming here, I learned Dutch. I spoke English from birth. That's what my mother said, because she was working at the United Nations. I'm back here now. The Taliban are here. The Taliban, they love women, scream. They love violence. They love molestation. They love rape. They love violence. They love war. That is them. They are the Afghans, they're the Taliban, they will do anything. The world is silence. European Union is silence.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Feminists who were screaming and shouting and telling us to leave our husbands and our violent fathers and go to the refuge, they are silent. The fake feminists, you know what I'm saying? The men are imprisoned, the women are in prison, children are sent in madrasas and being molested from a young age, killing their dreams, killing their human, essence. And it's nice to be here today. And I'm really grateful to ACAA for bringing people together, for making sure that we know that there is only one such an organization in diaspora who is making trips, coming here and bringing us together. So as you guys mentioned about let us do this, let us do that, it is not that let us do it, it is like do it, and do it now, before any other woman is put in prison, like my cousin being beaten. I have got the pictures. My cousin is being beaten just because giving birth to a daughter. And at the moment, I had to go and put her somewhere underground, and the Taliban husband came and took the daughter, the newborn daughter, away from the mother, and said to the woman, if I see you, I'm gonna cut you into pieces and I'm gonna feed it to the stray dogs. We have now become the dog food of the Taliban. So if you really want to do anything, please do not deceive us anymore. I'm a human first, before even being woman. And if it is that, I'm Tajik first, then I'm a woman, then I'm a mother, then I'm from the country which is called Afghanistan, where women are being sold. A woman is being sold for 2 kilos or opium in Helmand Province. But I'm from northern Afghanistan. Nobody talks about what the girls are suffering in North Afghanistan. We are being, I can't even tell you, we are being sold, we are being raped, we are being silenced. If someone is standing in opposition and wants to raise their voice, they actually kill their mother, father, brother, sister, husband, and rape the woman in front of their husbands, and while filming them and telling them, now let us see the show, brother. If you open your mouth, we will put this video online. So forget everything else. Please give the opportunity to ACAA to choose people who are faithful to the woman and to all people of Afghanistan, but who have also got an oath to stand for human rights. When we are European and we all get all of these things, if you're European, you have to respect, you have to accept, you have to tolerate, you have to do this. Why are we not doing it? So I think ACCA here is not just to come to say hello to everyone. ACAA is the only organization that can get us from here to Afghanistan and from Afghanistan back to Europe.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Contribution. We felt the pain in your words. We've only got a few minutes left, and it seems like the majority of those who are contributing are making recommendations. So we'll move to the panel, if that's okay with everyone. I think we've made the final remarks from the panelists. We'll just quickly spend the next few minutes. Please keep it very short. Just if there are any recommendations, feedback that you would like to give, the panelists are here to listen. I'm just going to move on to the next person very quickly. Who's speaking? Yes, sir, go ahead.
First of all, I want to introduce myself. My name is Javed Kargar. I'm a journalist of Afghanistan. I want to ask some question by my mother language, if you help.
Okay, just please keep it short, sir.
خانم سیسیل، اول تشکری میکنم از اینکه پارلمان اروپا امروز وقت داد برای ما که اینجا آمدیم و از آقای نسیمی تشکر میکنم. خانم سیسیل در مورد 4 میلیون زنان افغان نگرانی کردند. ولی ما مردم افغانستان در مورد 45 میلیون نفوس افغانستان گپ میزنیم که زیر استثمار طالبان روسی قرار دارن. امیدوار هستم چنین ترجمه کنم.
Right. So you mentioned the concern around 4 million women and girls and the risk to their lives. He's concerned over the 40 million, the population of Afghanistan who are being ruled by Russian-backed Taliban.
و همچنان خانم سیسی در مورد نجات تعداد از افغانستانی‌ها گفتن که نجاتشان دادن از افغانستان بیرون کشیدن. چقدر شما بیرون میکشید از افغانستان؟
The second question was just how many women and girls have the EU evacuated and resettled from Afghanistan?
45 میلیون مردم افغانستان امروز در خطر طالبان روسی قرار دارند. آیا همه اینا را بیرون بکنید؟ چرا در پی نجات مردم افغانستان نیستید؟
Okay, thank you. Is that the final question?
نه. موضوع بعدی چند بیماری است که در پارلمان اروپا کنفرانس ها گرفته شده، نشست ها صورت گرفته، وعده های سپرده میشه بر مردم افغانستان اما هیچ گونه اقدام عملی صورت نمیگیره. پارلمان اروپا در حال ما را به حضور پذیرفته. یک تعداد کشورهای اروپایی نمایندگان گروه تروریستی طالبان به عنوان سفیر پذیرفتند. یک موضوع. و موضوع دوم، چرا به جنبش‌های زنان، نهادهای دفاع از حقوق زنان برای جبهه‌های مخالف طالبان حمایت نمی‌کنین؟ فقط این سوال است که چرا حمایت نمیشه؟ گام‌های عملی برداشته شده.
Thank you so much. There were a number of different questions. I'm assuming they're mostly food for thought. I'm not sure if you have responses for them for now. He mentioned the fact that Russia has now formally accepted the Taliban as the authority and government of Afghanistan. Why has that not been questioned? The second point was around how many more women and girls or people can we evacuate? Rather than evacuating and resettling, why are we not focusing on helping people on the ground so that they don't have to seek asylum and make those perilous journeys to Europe? And I think the final point was just around the fact that many of these discussions are held at the EU and many international forums, but very little tangible difference is made. It's mostly all conversation. How can we make sure that that leads to something that's much more practical, because this will not get us anywhere if we keep repeating the same thing over and over again without having a focus on what exactly it is that we can do. Yes, any other questions? Yes, go ahead, sir.
به اجازه عقیده بکنیم و خواستهای خودم بیان خدمت دوستان عرض کنیم که زبان ما زبان ناشی از پندار نیک، گفتار نیک و کردار نیک. ما در اینجا دو کلمه شدیدیم که پندار نیک بسیار خوبی گفته شده و گفتار نیک اینجا هم کل گپا بسیار خوبی سنجیده شده گفته شده. ما منتظر از کردار نیک عملا ما ببینیم، کردار نیک عملا ببینیم. بعد از او خدمت دوستا عرض کنم که در کشور ما فاجعه جریان داره. فاجعه انسان ما، طفل ما در دریا میموره، در دشت میموره، در صحرا میموره و اوجا وحشی ها را سر قدرت آوردن و انسان ها را از اینجا کشیدن، وحشی ها را از جا بردن. من یک کدام گفتنی اضافه ندارم. آرزوی من از این مقام که حداقل با اونم انسانهای ما ترحم بکنن.
Thank you so much, Mr. Khosachin. I think that's going to be the final question. I'm so sorry. Is there a question or just a brief remark? Very quickly, please. Just 30 seconds.
My name is Ahmed Ahmadi. I'm coming from Italy, Venice. It's true that the international community has to respond to us, has to satisfy our questions. But from the other part, I think that we have to increase our actions also, our own actions. Small or big, it doesn't matter. I'm here to invite you a kind of collaboration. In Venice, we have it's the most important platform for the art and culture, particularly for visual art and contemporary art. And we are focusing because also the artistic and cultural community in Afghanistan is facing with the same problem as women, and most of our artists are women. So if you have, thank you for the UK community, UK Afghan community who organized this event with Alessandra and Cecilia. I would like to invite you maybe through Alessandra to have a kind of collaboration for the next year. It's a 7 months of platform, the most important one in the world, and we can use that platform to talk and to negotiate about Afghanistan, and the art is the best way to communicate. Thank you.
Thank you. Arzucan, do you want to quickly translate Mr. Kocheshin's
Mr. Kocheshin said, good afternoon, dear representatives of EU Parliament. Thank you very much for having the time to spend with us and to listen to us. I would like to tell you that from my culture, there are three pillars that we always believed on, and that is the good deeds, good thoughts, and good words. So far, we have only been hearing good words and the good thoughts. We are literally waiting for the good deeds, for the action. And we would like to take this matter serious, and as Mr. Karban also said, this is not the life of just a woman, it's the life of 40 million people in Afghanistan.
Thank you so much. So before we're kicked out, I just want to say take 1 minute to thank you again for the time you have taken to listen to the audience. For many, actually, it's probably the first time they've been to the European Parliament. It's the first time they've been able to reach an MEP and to be able to directly share their thoughts and their feelings. So you've done a big task here today. It's no small feat to be able to reach ordinary diaspora and those who have been living in exile for many years and have not been heard, have not been listened to. So thank you so much for taking the time. It means a great deal. Thank you. Quick final remark from myself. I'm, as you can see, I'm from Afghanistan myself, but from my accent, you can also tell that I was born and raised in the West and raised in Britain. But that connection to my homeland, to the people of my country, has never gone. And just a final remark on the fact that these conversations are ongoing. I don't think we're ever going to find a long-term solution to freeing the women of Afghanistan very easily, but it requires dedication, it requires compassion, it requires love, kindness, and that sense of humanity. We are here not for self-interest, we are not making this journey and hosting an event at the European Parliament for ourselves, we're doing it for the greater good. And our main objective is to reach at some point an Afghanistan that is free, an Afghanistan that is democratic, an Afghanistan that is representative of women, girls, and each and every different ethnic group that makes this country so beautiful, so historic, and so ancient. And so thank you so much for coming. I know we could sit here for many more hours and keep going, but I hope this is just the first of many more discussions. And please stay in touch. Our team is around the room, so if you have any ideas, any other recommendations you would like to make to work with us, we're always open for contributions. But thank you again, and have a great rest of the day. Thank you. Just a quick thing, sorry. If anyone would like to have a group picture at the end, please stay back. We're going to take a picture just here. Thank you.